So, Navy, you got a question?
Actually, first off, I want to say, Tony, I've been following you for a while. Good sir, you are amazing. Everything that you do, especially for the kids. Because as a father, and my daughter just turned 16 a couple of days ago, so happy birthday to my baby.
Happy birthday.
Um, thank you, thank you. I always want to, and as a blurred, older blurred, I always want to see them comfortable in spaces and see folks like us. And you are a literal orator. You are like a prophet of it, as far as I'm concerned. That may be, you may not accept that, but I'm gonna tell you straight up, I love what you do. Continue what you do, and just call on me if you need backup. That's all I gotta say.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
Navy's the kind of guy. It's a reason why we call him the preacher in the pulpit. But
Oh
he
my
remind
gosh.
if you've ever been a fan of Firefly, he reminds you of Shepherd Book.
Mm.
He preaches the word, but don't let him fire off.
The wrath. The wrath.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a nice guy, okay?
We didn't say you
Just
weren't.
don't be a basement virgin. That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
I think
So
there's this interesting belief that people have where if you're black and you're in a community where you're dealing with discrimination, there's this belief that like the racist people don't have to play by any rules, but you got to be gracious about how you respond in any way. They can show up and say whatever they want to you,
yeah.
but if you don't, if you respond in kind, right? Like if they buck and you decide to knock, all of a sudden and I think I'm with you on that. I'm like, no, please understand. Whatever energy you show up with, I can return it the same way, and it doesn't reflect poorly on me. It doesn't reflect poorly on me if I match your energy.
And that right there is speaking volumes. I concur. I concur. So my question for you, good sir, is you've been doing this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Other than obvious, what has been the biggest challenge for you as someone who is trying to convey this powerful message of self-acceptance and strength?
I think so. For context, I started my organization when I was 19 years old. I was a junior in college. I won $500 in a pitch competition from the School of Business, and even that was like petty because I was an acting major, and I had to take like my required business class in the School of Business, and I found out about the pitch competition, and someone said something real off to me about like what would an acting major be doing in a School of Business competition, and
Oh boy.
that Michael Jordan moment happened. It became I don't I don't even know how long this concept is going to live for, but I do know you need to lose. It is not just enough for me to win. You must lose. And that's why I'm here. So we took first place with that. And we got $500. And I was like, $500, that's like 80% of a PS5. We can totally change the world with $500. That's a lot of money. And what I found was that my optimism was a bit misplaced. So I think that's the challenge. I think maintaining the optimism. I have very bold goals that some people would say border on like ignorant, youthful idealism about what type of place the world can be, what type of place the nerd community can be, how nerds can show up for one another. I have these very like pronounced, and some people would say like utopian views about how we can show up for each other as a community. And I think the only reason they feel so out of reach is because there are a lot of systems in place that prevent it from becoming reality. And maintaining that optimism while bumping up against those difficulties, I think is the place where I struggle. Like my organization, we're in productions. We do a lot of work around mental health. Over 500,000 kids a year, we're giving them mental health curricula completely free of charge, partner with comic books and different workshops that their teachers can facilitate. And when we started, we were initially going to schools, trying to get things implemented in schools. And the principals would tell me just straight up to my face, like, hey, this sounds like a cool program, but I don't have a budget item for mental health. Like, we don't really have any tools or systems that we're using to gauge mental health right now. That's not really a mandate that we have. Like, it'd be nice, but that's not really what we have. And then my question became like, well, what are you focused on? And they're like, well, we got to get them reading. We care about literacy. And I'm like, well, comic books do help with literacy. On average, they include 90% more rare words than prose. And I'm going and grabbing all these studies and all these visual things. And now, just for me to go and heal a kid in here, I gotta go talk to this gatekeeper over here and explain how comic books help literacy, because that's the only way they'll let it in. And I think that with most of the work that we've done, especially in institutions that are a bit more bureaucratic, whether that's schools, whether that's healthcare, whether that's philanthropy, the challenge is always, on paper, we both know that they need what I am trying to give them, but you won't let me buy unless I jump through your specific hoop. And everybody has a specific hoop.
Yeah.
And over time, that gets a little demoralizing. But I feel like it's worth it in the end.
I think I agree with the comic books helping literacy. I mentioned Carol and John, which is a mother and son owned comic book shop here. And there's a story that John, the son, tells about his grandfather, who was an immigrant. And that's how he learned how to read, was through reading comic books. And, John, who is naturally born citizen, he just passed him off to his grandson. And he became this guy that owns a comic book store years later with his mother. So I always found that to be, and I agree, I found that to be a beautiful thing when people, you just can't push a book in a kid's face and expect them to read it. But if you push a book in a kid's face that catches their attention, and comic books always catches a kid's attention,
it grabs their imagination.
Yeah.
It allows the imagination to flourish and grow, so they can create more and not feel like they're being gatekept by those who think they know more.
Exactly.
Speak on it. Yeah, because comics where I got to. That's why I'm weird now. I got 13 long white boxes, no waiting.